everyone, to episode 16 of the What Sales and Marketing Got to Do with It podcast. My name is Gemma Adair, founder and principal marketing consultant at Ricoh Consultancy. This podcast aims to delve deep into the minds of sales and marketing industry leaders, uncovering what keeps them up at night, what drives their passion, and how they execute successful strategies in both their personal and professional lives. I'm delighted to welcome Michael Tecce, who is the Vice President, Ricoh Global Services Americas. Great to have you, Michael.
Gemma, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on.
Awesome. So please, without further ado, please introduce who you are and what you do.
Yes, glad to do so. So I am Michael Tecce. I am, as you said, I lead Ricoh Global Services in the Americas. So I manage the truly global accounts that are U.S. And Americas based. So our largest, most strategic, truly global accounts. So I have a team of around 10 global account directors. This is a high-level sales director position, a managing director type position on my team, directly reporting to me, that manage those accounts. And so that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Awesome, awesome. So just out of curiosity, obviously you are across the water in the US, in Philadelphia. Is that home for you? Is that where you're based,
It
or is that where
is.
you're from?
I'm a Philly boy. I'm a diehard Philadelphia sports fan. I'm a born and raised in what they call Delco, Delaware County, in the Philadelphia suburbs. Traveled around a little, but ended up settling here again, and love it. Absolutely love it in this area.
Amazing, amazing. So if someone was to come to Philadelphia, what would you recommend they come and see?
Oh man, it's a great city to visit. There's so much history here, American history. There's a lot of the traditional sites, the Liberty Bell, and we've got a great city, great restaurants, great touring. But by far the biggest attraction to people coming into town is the Rocky statue.
Ah,
Next up,
yes.
the Philadelphia Art Museum, when Rocky's, it's amazing. I have guests in from different parts of the world, and I'll take you to the Liberty Bell. Nah, we don't want to see that. We want to see the Rocky statue, which is really cool.
That's if I come to Philadelphia, definitely that would be my first stop, the Rocky statue for sure.
Absolutely.
So going back to your career, you've been working for Ricoh for quite some time. Take us back to, where did your journey begin in sales? So when and where did your journey begin?
Yeah, thanks. Gemma. I come from a sales family. Both of my parents made a career in sales. I, after college, I kind of knew in my mind that I wanted to sell. I had a passion to go out and sell. I was a competitive person, involved in athletics in high school, a little bit in college, and so that was just a natural for me. And so I started to look at different positions, and everyone told me, whatever you do, don't go sell copy machines. It's just a crazy competitive business. And, so I interviewed at a bunch of places, and sure enough, I came upon a Lanier at the time, which I just fell in love with the culture of it. And I actually had to buy a van to come to work.
Mm.
What we would do is we would load copy machines in the back of our vans, and we would be there like 7 a.m., load up our vans, go out into the field, and just basically prospect and cold call and call on existing accounts. And then if someone was interested in seeing, you would sell for the demo. So you would be, you gotta fantastic product that I really want to bring it in, show it to you. Can I go get it? And you would bring it in and demonstrate it right there in their office. And that's kind of how we sold. And I think the most, I guess the big thing that I remember about it, and many people that I've had the pleasure of hiring and training over the years that we learned from those days, is just the incredible work ethic. And that if you really have a plan and a passion, and sales is really about two things. And I learned this right away back then. It's about activity and attitude. And if you have a positive attitude every single day, you get up and you're excited about that day, and go out, and then you need the activity. So if you have those two, you have the proper activity. So you're working hard. You're doing all the things that will bring success, with a positive attitude. Well, you pretty much can't fail, and that goes for any kind of selling anywhere, or not just selling, but it's attitude and activity. It's almost a law. So that was early lessons that I learned.
Awesome. And in terms of challenges, I'm sure you have, but have you faced some challenges in your career, and what were they, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, I think such an important component of any successful person, and we all have challenges. We all face adversity, whether it's in selling, whether it's whatever your career is. You're
Yeah.
going to have challenges. You're going to have very difficult periods that you go through, and you find out an awful lot about people during that period when they have to face that adversity, right? We certainly had industry challenges over the years. We've certainly had the economy in recessions, and nobody wanted to buy anything. And we had sales quotas that were based on, outstanding the year, the prior year, and those kinds of things. And you just have to expect adversity, expect the challenges. I always just sort of, I guess, condition myself that, hey, it's coming. Adversity's coming. It's all about how I react to it. That's my choice. Okay, I can't control what happens. I can't control the bumps in the road in my day, in my year, in my career, but I can, I can sure control how I react to it. And I think that's the most important lesson from those challenges and adversity, is you choose how you react. And I remember early in my career, we'd be cold calling. You're out just pounding the doors. Hey, introduce yourself and try to build a quick relationship with the receptionist or someone there,
The
and they're
gatekeeper.
the gatekeeper, right? And they don't want to see you. The rejection was incredible, but I learned that they can't reject me without my permission. All right.
Mm.
Unless I felt, so it wasn't personal. And then each time I made a call and got a rejection, I was one step closer to a yes. So that's how I kind of learned to face the adversity, just to sort of just to deal with it with a positive mental attitude, expect it, and when it comes, you deal with it head on. And there's been specific, certainly times in my career where we had a bad year, or we just, or had, as a sales leader, hire, I would say recruit, hire,
Mm.
train, give everything you have to your team, and then someone, your best person will come in, especially back in the up and down the street copier days, and they would quit, and because it's a tough job. That was always tough, that was adversity. You put everything you had into that person, and for a few years, but then they go on to be really successful, and you stay in touch with them, and they appreciate what you did. So it's all good.
No, I think there's some very relevant sort of tips. It's about like how you show up, and how you look at it or react to it in that respect.
Yeah.
Which brings me to, what does a day in the life of Michael look like?
Well, today, a day in the life. I'm a morning person. I'm up early. I'm a marathon runner. I've
Wow.
run many marathons, and I love nothing more than training. And currently injured, but normally the day in the life is getting up at 5 a.m. and training with my friends, my fellow runners, which we have
Nice.
a really just awesome, positive people that I love to associate with. My daughter is also one of them, and we've run
Oh,
many
brilliant.
marathons together. So we start the day getting up, dragging yourself out of bed, grinding out a 6 or 7 mile run or more, right? And in the beginning, and then by the end of the run, you're just energized because you got that in. And then you shower and you're at work, or if it's at the home office, really early still. It might be only be 7:30 because we get up so early. So always like to start the day that way. There's nothing like getting a good workout in. I would also add that I have developed a practice that I've, learned from, I guess, coaches, leaders. One specifically is John Gordon, and it's practice gratitude in the morning.
Mm,
First thing,
yeah.
if you wake up every day and think about the three things that you're most thankful for that day, it just puts you into a different mindset. It's like we have so much to be thankful for. And so practice gratitude. And it's very virtually impossible to be negative or down and thankful at the same time. So you start off the day that way. We actually do it on our runs. On our Tuesday morning run specifically, we have this 7 mile course, and we have these just fantastic people that we run with. They're all just so positive, and we feed off each other. But we practice the gratitude mile, where for 1 mile at the back end of a hilly run, it's called our Berwyn run. We just say, okay, gratitude mile. And what are you thankful for today? And we take turns talking about what we're thankful for at that time. And
Oh,
it's
that's
just
brilliant.
how it energizes you. So that's the beginning of the day. Didn't get to 8 o'clock yet, but that's how we start the day. And then the day is generally made up of, different things, of course. If I'm traveling out with my sales team, out making calls with customers, that's how I love to spend the day. But, if it's a normal day where I'm in the office, there's a lot of, there's a lot of calls. There's a lot of Teams calls, on camera, internal, customer calls, that type of thing fills up the day. Whether it's global, I'm on a global role. So a lot of times that day, those calls may cramp my 6 a.m. runs because we have a call at 6 a.m. or sometimes night calls because of the global nature of our business. Love being in front of the customer as much as possible during the day. There's nothing more energizing to me. That part of the job is being with one of my global account directors and getting in front of a customer and talking to the customer and building that relationship and delivering to them, understanding their unique, solving their unique problems, that kind of thing. That's the best part of the day is when we get to do that. But I also look at my job, Gemma, as I have a get-to job, not a have-to job.
Mm,
And I get to do it. I love what I do. I love my team. I love my people. I love interacting with them and with the customers. So I feel privileged to have been in this role and working for Ricoh. And it's a get-to job. It's not something I have to do. And I would
mm.
encourage everybody out there, if you have a have-to job, you have to go find another job because you can't be
Yeah.
passionate about it, right? You just can't be. You can't be passionate about something that you feel like you have to do and you dread doing. It doesn't work that way. So find something you're passionate about, go and make a living at it, and then it's a get-to job. So that's a little bit about my day. I probably could ramble on more about it, but that gives you a little
No,
taste of
that's awesome. And I think that's one of the things I love about you, Michael, is your energy and how you show up. And I do need to kind of ask about TC Tuesday.
it.
What is that all about? Because I just love your videos on LinkedIn. They're so just empowering and insightful, and it doesn't surprise me from what you've told me about your day to day and how you kind of get up in the morning. Tell us more about that.
Well, thank you for asking, and thank you for the kind words. I'll tell you how TC Tuesday started, because it started right where I'm sitting right now. I'm at my in my home office at my kitchen table right now. And so my
Ah,
kids were young. I've always, my father and mother, but mainly my father preached, just about attitude and positive outlook on life. And so when my kids were very young, I tried to influence them that way the best I could. And so when they were in school in the early years, if they had a test that day or a sporting event, I would always leave them a little note. I would be at work before they got out of bed, and I would leave a note of encouragement or
nice.
at their spot at the table. Hey, Lauren, good luck on your test today. Believe in yourself. You're awesome. Same thing for John, my son. So that became kind of in the early days. It was funny because my daughter she just wasn't buying in. And when I would talk to them, she'd say, "I hear a speech coming on." But she's now the most positive person you will ever meet. But so that's how it started. I would leave these little notes. And then when they went away to college, we started texting. And I would, on Tuesdays, it just happened. I would text them every Tuesday, something positive, something, motivational. And they actually started to like it and really look forward to it. We had some great interaction in our little text group. So then I expanded that to my sales team and to a lot of my network. I have some just amazing friends in similar roles, some highly successful sales leaders and sales people. And I just next thing you know, the text group was like 100 people or whatever. My son said, "Dad, you need to put this on LinkedIn. This is crazy. You're doing the text every day." And I was doing the videos, so it turned into videos.
Ah,
I would text these videos out. So then I did. I launched it on LinkedIn, and it's. I just. I'm so happy to hear feedback. It's all it's about.
mm.
It's nothing I don't take real seriously. It's just a thought that I might have that morning. It actually does happen on Tuesdays, or a thought that I've been thinking about and brewing, and I just try to share some positive energy every Tuesday, and it's been pretty well received. I've met so many people throughout the world that have reached out that I've now become friends like you. Uh, um, Gemma, it's just fantastic to the relationships that it's formed, and I've been fortunate enough to present and to speak at sales organizations, and I at this point it's been just a hobby. It may develop into something further, but it's been fantastic, and that's how TC Tuesdays got going.
Awesome. And I can see how that kind of like extends to your team and just kind of guiding them and supporting them and empowering them and how they show up and so on. Which brings me to the next question. In your opinion, what does it take to be a good leader?
Hmm. Great question. In my opinion, it's all about servant leadership. It's about the growth, the well-being of your people. It's about empowering them. It's about putting them in position to be successful. It's servant leadership. It's going to work every day. My job, the way I see it, is to get them, is to help them to put them in the best position that they can be in, that they wake up every day excited to work for our company and to on behalf of their customers, and excited to do what they do, empower them to make decisions, encourage them the best I can, generally care about them as individuals, understand them, and what is their, and you and I talked about this before, what is their why? You know,
Yeah.
what is the why behind their what motivates them? Really understand them. I think that's what the key, in my opinion, to leadership is to really being a good, solid servant leader. It doesn't mean you certainly have to hold them accountable. You have to, you know, you have to be, sometimes you have difficult conversations if
Mm,
things aren't headed in the right direction. So it's not that it's all, you know, great conversations, but my job and my team, fortunately, at this time, I mean, we just have a fantastic team that feed on each other, that rely on each other, that are excited to be part of Ricoh Global Services. They're empowered. They are excited. I'm sure, you know, I know they all have difficult times, right? We all do. But that's what it's about from my perspective. Leaders that have ego, and it's about being a we leader, not a me leader. If you hear a leader that's
mm,
talking about me, or I,
I.
get out of town. That person is in it for themselves, and they generally, I would just say, I can learn. It's just a pet peeve of mine when I hear I, me. It's about we. It's about us. It's about us with our customers. How do we make things happen? How do we solve their business problems? How do we get to know them better? It's not I. It's not me. So it's servant leadership, to answer your question, is, I think, the key.
That's incredible. Which brings me on to, sales in general. There's a lot of misconceptions about sales. What have you come across in terms of the misconceptions about do people have about sales?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's sales has evolved, in my opinion, so much for the better. It used to be sort of more high pressure almost, and like you had to know, as a salesperson, you had to know more ways to ask for their business than they knew ways to say no. That's ridiculous when you think about it, right? So it's so exciting that it has evolved, and that type of environment is not what it's about. The misconception might still be there about that salespeople are in it for themselves, and there are maybe some that are. Successful salespeople are in it to solve their customers' problem, to bring value, to genuinely be viewed as a business person, not a salesperson. As there's that pyramid at the top, it's
Mm,
a trusted advisor. At the bottom, it's a lowly vendor. To earn the right to be at the top of that pyramid in the eyes of their customers. So that's what successful salespeople are to me. And maybe the misconception is what I said before, is sort of they're in it for themselves, and it's they're trying to sell me something. Well, if that's how that buyer feels, then that's not a good salesperson. They're business people. I
yeah.
have a good friend, um, Phil Stryland. He's the president of the Summit Group. He's a consultant. He's an amazing man. And he puts it that a good, successful salesperson brings simplicity to their customers' complexity. And
That's a great
in
saying.
a complex sales environment, enterprise sales, global sales environment, so it's about taking this complex problem that they have and finding a way to simplify it and solve it in their eyes. I mean, it's just a great phrase that he uses, that I feel like is really important in being successful in a complex sales environment.
That's great. And which brings me to my next question about marketing and sales alignment. What's your thoughts on that?
Real important to be aligned, obviously, right? And you see, and it's easy to not be aligned. It's easy to marketing has their vision, and and it's just not generating the brand or the leads or the activity that the sales teams need, perhaps. Have to be connected, have to be, all one in terms of how what do we want to be as a company, and what do
Mm,
we want to, how do we want to be perceived by the market, by our customers, by our employees, and then being together so that marketing is there to help drive that and promote that, whether it's in sort of advertising, or today, obviously, LinkedIn and social media is so important. Building
mm,
our personal brand first, and then our company brand, and becoming that trusted advisor, and marketing helping there, but then events, lead generation, digital transformation is upon us in every company everywhere. So how do we do that? How do we approach it from a digital perspective, and change the way we think from that perspective? So just so important to be aligned, from a sales leadership and a marketing leadership position.
perfect. If a young person wanted to get into sort of sales, let's say, or someone wanted to maybe have a career sort of change, what advice would you give them?
Gemma, it's a good question. First of all, if they want to get into sales, it's as I stated before, to be successful, you have to be passionate about it. You have to love it. You have to enjoy what you're doing. So, I would say and it's sometimes you just have to dig in to see if that's what you want to do, right? You find out, maybe, hey, maybe sales isn't what I want to do, and it's marketing, or it's some other career path. You can't try sales. I want to try sales. No.
Mm,
It's you got to be committed. It's got to be you. I always say, is it obsession or casual interest? Because casual
mm,
interest in a selling career is not going to get it done. It's not it's the easiest easy work. Meaning, if you don't want to work hard, don't worry, you're not going to be there long. Or the hardest hard work, and you got to be committed 100% to performing the activity that it'll take, and your sales leaders will tell you it will take to be successful. All right, so you don't try it, research it, talk to people that do it for a living, maybe even, if you can mirror one of them, or get a mentor
yeah.
that's done it, and try to understand it. And then if it seems like, yeah, this is what I want to do, I knew right away that's what I wanted to do, I was passionate about it, then don't try it, go after it
Go
100%,
after.
all in, committed, and understand, depending on the type of selling you're in, of course, but understand it's not easy, and you're going to face adversity. And every day, some days you'll feel like you didn't accomplish anything, but you made a lot of the activity was that positive activity that I talked about. You went at it with a positive attitude. You built some relationships. Well, down the road, those relationships will come back, to help you in the long run, for sure. So there's so many different types of selling, but if you're just getting into it, it would be an entry level type sales position, and that's the kind of advice I would have: is don't try it, go after it
Go
with
after.
passion. Expect the adversity. Expect it's not going to be easy. Wake up every day with a positive attitude, and go out and do the things that you're being told that you have to do to be successful, and understand there's going to be tough days, and go make it happen.
That's amazing. You talked about passion, adversity. You talked about your why. You talked about mentor, having a mentor. Is there someone that inspires you, whether dead or alive?
I've been really fortunate Gemma, over my career to have some just fantastic mentors, people that I looked up to, whether it was in, certainly in my sales career, some of the early leaders from Lanier that they were easy on people, but hard on results. So they cared about you as an individual, but they drove the results. And they were highly ethical. It was all about ethics, integrity, and strong mentors that I'll forever be grateful for. People like a gentleman by the name of Lance Heron, who was just incredible. I would tell you though that my mentor, my guy, was my dad. My dad is just he meant everything to me growing up. He was my rock. He was hey, he was always there to encourage me. If I got knocked down, he taught me at an early age, you're going to get knocked down. Pick yourself back up, dust yourself and go at it harder, and encourage me to have the confidence. It's about confidence, and it's about believing in yourself. And we all go through times when we don't it's hard, right? Life is hard. It's difficult.
Yeah,
You're
it
dealing
sure
with
is.
so much, especially today. There's so much mental anguish and people are struggling. So to have a mentor like him was absolutely incredible to me. And he passed away a couple years ago, and I think about him almost every day.
Oh, that's great. Which brings me back to the whole kind of younger self and early years. If you could speak to your younger self, what would you say to them?
Yeah, such a great question, because if you even ask that question of a 25-year-old early in their career, and maybe she's thinking about what I tell my younger self 10 years ago. You can use that at any kind of any stage in your life. But fortunately, I've had a long career, so I can look back now and really reflect on that. I would say a couple things. One is I would say to try to embrace the concept of act as if it were impossible for you to fail.
Mm,
No matter what challenge you have. So if you go about it, and you act as if you can't fail, think about the confidence that you would have. Think about how you would approach it with an unwavering belief that you're going to be successful, because you're going to be successful because you can't fail. So have the belief in myself, and just really believe that whatever I put my mind to, I can do. And it's impossible for me to fail. I may find some ways along the path that didn't work, but that doesn't mean I failed, right? I found ways that didn't work, but if I set my mind to something, I know I can go and make it happen. So act as if. I would also say another thing that kind of if I would tell my younger self, and it's not that I didn't do this, but if I had advice for a younger person, is decide what you want to do. Make a decision, like in what you really want to accomplish in your personal life and in your professional life. So make a decision, decide. And then once you decide, put together a plan. It doesn't need to be an elaborate plan, but decide what you're going to do, what you're willing to give to achieve that goal that you set, and then go and attack that plan with a burning desire that won't recognize failure. And if that sounds familiar to some people, that's Napoleon Hill. That's Think and Grow Rich, and it's simplified,
very
but
good book.
a lot of people. It's a great book. Have you read it, Gemma? It's
Yeah.
such a good book. It's such a timeless book. It's probably
Yeah.
75 years old. If you decide what you want to, many people just don't even decide what they want. They just wander around and make a decision on what you want to achieve in your personal life, the relationships you want to have. make a decision from a professional perspective. What do I want? What's my passion? I want to follow my passion, and then put a plan together, and go after it, and just decide that you're obsessed with it. Back to that obsession versus casual interest. So that's what I'd tell my younger self. I probably told myself some of that at that period, but maybe I didn't as much as I maybe should have.
Which you mentioned Napoleon Hill there now, and again, it's just a great book. Are there any other books that you sort of read? Is there podcasts that you listen to maybe keep abreast of the market, or just to kind of really enforce that mindset that you already have?
So many fantastic books. I just have just a I've always been I've never been a fiction reader, and I just I've always been about kind of motivational books, whether or sales strategy books or self-improvement, that type of thing. There's so many good ones out there that I recommend. Simple reads, one that as I mentioned, John Gordon before, The Energy Bus, just a simple book about the power of positive energy. It's kind of a silly story, but man, is it powerful. So I like those kind of books, and I try to actually give them to my sales teams when we get together for an in-person meeting. I always have a different book for their ride home, and it's usually a simple type read like The Energy Bus. But also podcast. The Learning Leader is my favorite podcast. You listen to
Hmm.
that too? Ryan
I've,
Hawk.
I've heard I've heard of it. I've actually
It's
heard of it. Yeah.
it's so powerful. Ryan Hawk is it drops every Sunday, and every Monday I listen to it. He has some just fantastic, successful leaders, big name leaders, and some that aren't so much. But it's a really good. It's a great podcast. My close friend, and also just such a successful sales leader, Susan Rothwell, recommended it to me once, and I've been addicted to it.
To
And
ever since.
every week I listen to that one.
Oh, that's incredible. Which brings me to my next question. If you had a chance to be a superhero or have superpowers, what would they be and why?
Yeah. Superman. If I had a chance to be a superhero, I would
Yeah.
be Superman, because I would have the powers to be able to help people and save people by
That's true.
uh, by doing what Superman does.
Yeah.
But I also there's special meaning to that one for me. When I was a boy, I had a brother who was sick. He was sick with cancer, and when he
Mm.
was in the Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania, CHOP of Philadelphia, I'm sorry, it's a great place, and he was pretty sick, and they told him that Superman was he was enamored by Superman, and my mother used to tell him, and some of the doctors, that Superman was helping him. And he
Uh,
started to believe that, and he actually got better. So that has a special meaning for me, Superman, and that's who I would be, so I could try to help people.
oh, I think that's it's a great superhero to be, for sure. What do you want to be remembered by?
Legacy, right? Some people, it's interesting, legacy. So I think it's interesting to think sometimes with the end in mind, right? So when you pass away, how do you want people to remember you? And then maybe work backwards to to sort of to make sure that you are doing the things that you want to do to have that legacy. And it's interesting. So I just, I'm all about my family. I have I'm so blessed. My wife is
Mm.
amazing. My kids, my extended family, my 3 grandsons. I have 3 grandsons, but
Oh,
3 and 18 months. And that is
wow.
awesome. So I live for that. I live for my family. I want to be known for that. I guess number one, as a dedicated family person, I want to be known for sort of a business perspective, I guess. Someone that had a positive influence on people over a
Mm,
long period of time. I think that I've been in the same company almost 40 years. Had opportunity to leave so many times, actually quit a couple times, and then didn't end up leaving. Got promoted, got more money, whatever. But I've had the opportunity to train so many people and have an influence on them. So maybe that people would think back and say, he was just a positive individual that cared, a servant leader that had an influence on my life in a positive way. He brought positive energy, I think would also be important. And then one other thing, ethics and integrity
mm,
is so important in how you live your life. If you don't stand for something from an ethical perspective, then it's just a way to live. And I learned that certainly in business from some of my mentors and from my family, but just to be known for someone that did the right thing, and was a positive influence in a high integrity person.
wow. Incredible. Yeah. Those fundamentals, those foundations are really quite key. Just two more questions. If you had to ask the audience a question, what would that be?
Hmm, that's a tough one. What is the one thing that that if you um improve upon that it would make the biggest difference in your life? And then what do you need to do to make that happen? So think about your life, and that it could again be professional or personal. If I improve in this one area, my quality of life or my relationships in my life or my business career would improve so much. So it's
Mm,
think about that one. And maybe if you're not sure, you can ask people in your close inner circle, in your mastermind group, what is that one thing that if I improved on that, it would make the biggest difference? And then what are some of the things that I can do to make that happen? That's what I would ask.
that's a good question. And just lastly, do you have any final words you'd like to share?
Well, I know that your audience is a wide one, and I'm so excited about what you're doing, Gemma, in following your passion. And a couple of years ago, you took a big chance on yourself, and you went and you're doing the things that you're passionate about, and
Mm,
with your foundation that you're
mm,
committed to. It's awesome, and just getting to know you a little bit. But I would just, my advice to anyone, especially some of the younger people, will be to, again, make that decision on what you want to do, what you want to be, and follow your passion in making that happen. Life is short.
yeah.
Tomorrow is not promised, no matter how old you are. Live every day and appreciate every day. Appreciate the little things you have. We're all faced with difficulties. We're all faced with struggles, but we're also so blessed. So appreciate every single day of your life. Smile. Smiling is contagious. Go and bring positive energy to people, to your network, to the people that mean the most to you, because it matters. I could probably ramble on that, but I won't.
Oh, yeah, just lastly, Michael, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on the podcast. And I'm in gratitude to have you on the podcast. And I just want to say there's only one Michael TC for sure. Um, I feel like, if I had a t-shirt, it'd be like, yeah, Michael TC rocks type thing. I just think you're incredible. And keep showing up as you're doing. And yeah,
You
thank you
too.
so
Right back
much.
at you, Gemma. Keep going, keep being you and doing what you're doing. And I thank you so much for having me as your guest today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. And have a great rest of the day. Thank you,
You
Michael.
too. All right.
Take
Cheers.
care. Bye.